Hello, friends. Welcome back to Sunrise Saturday. Ali Martin here. We're here in the governor's mansion with me, Governor Tate Reeves. Thank you so much for being with us. It is Christmas at the mansion, and we're also just talking about a lot of other things. Governor, it's been a big year, a lot of big stuff happening in Mississippi. Talk to us about this year as you wrap up another year.
Oh, well, thank you, Ali, and Merry Christmas to you and your family and to the entire listening audience. It's been a great year in 2022. It's been a challenging year. Right. Each of my 3 years in office now, it seems, have certainly had many challenges, including some of the bad weather we had on earlier this week on I guess it was Tuesday afternoon. But look, the reality is things are good. Things are good in Mississippi. We've got the lowest unemployment rate in the history of our state. We've got the highest graduation rate in the history of our state, the lowest dropout rate in the history of our state. Our fourth graders are seeing educational achievement levels improve throughout the state. We're seeing a ton of new economic development announcements, particularly up in your neck of the woods.
Absolutely.
And that's a big deal.
Big one not too long ago up there.
There's no doubt. Right. The SDI expansion project is just it's the largest economic development project in the history of Mississippi. It's $2.5 billion, 1,000 new jobs at $100,000 a year. Right. It's going to continue to help transform the Golden Triangle into an even better place to invest capital and create jobs and raise a family. And it's just, it really is it's really worth celebrating.
Absolutely. And that was a huge deal. And, you know, we're in the middle of a recession right now, and inflation is skyrocketing. So how do you keep that momentum going and keep the economic development going here in Mississippi? I mean, it's a business-friendly state, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, the winds are in our faces because many of the decisions made by the Biden administration have made it more difficult for companies to make decisions to invest, not the least of which is interest rates skyrocketing. Interest rates are skyrocketing because inflation is skyrocketing, and inflation is skyrocketing because of policies and choices made by this administration in Washington, D.C., and that certainly creates unique challenges for us. But we're also in a position in Mississippi where I feel like we have a great team on the economic development side. We've got a lot of good local partners that are working hard every day. And what we're seeing is we proved during the pandemic, while a lot of blue states were shutting down, Mississippi was open for business. Right. And people in corporate America, across America, and quite frankly across the globe, see that, and they see that while there were a lot of employees at work coming to work during COVID in our state, we were open for business and our people showed up and we were able to produce products and get them to the market. And that goes a long way towards enticing more and more investment.
And that was huge. And another big thing this year, Roe versus Wade was overturned, and a lot of folks didn't think they would ever see that happen, and Mississippi led the way for that to happen.
I will tell you, Ali, I think many of us believe it's the biggest accomplishment in the conservative movement in the last 50 years in America, and Mississippi did lead the way. And what you've heard me say before, and I'll continue to say, the reason that politicians and elected officials like me were able to push first legislation at the state legislative level all the way up to the United States Supreme Court is because we believe in the sanctity of life. But the people of Mississippi believe in the sanctity of life. And it is that belief and that viewpoint and that support that we have as elected officials that allows us to go out and literally change the world and help save the lives of millions and millions and millions of babies all across America.
And no matter what the national media said, it did not outlaw abortion. It put it back to the states where it should have been in the first place.
Well, the fact is, Roe versus Wade simply said that there was a constitutional right to every individual to an abortion, but nowhere in the United States Constitution does it say anything about abortion. In fact, nowhere in the United States Constitution does it forbid states from regulating it. And it simply returned it back to the states. In our state, we were ready for that. We had a law in place that passed in 2007 that outlawed it here in Mississippi. And other states are going to deal with that however they choose. And I think you're going to see there are going to be people who move to conservative states like Mississippi because they want to live in a state that protects the lives of unborn children.
Absolutely. Of course, we just had the midterms, and Republicans taking control of the House.
Well, it's very important that the Republicans took back the House of Representatives, because now in Washington, D.C., we have a gas pedal that is Joe Biden pushing everything as far left as possible. But now you have a break, and that break is in the United States House of Representatives, and they can stand up and say, you know, Mr. President, we don't think that the American people want us to move that far to the left. I think there's a lot of people in America that have buyer's remorse. We won a large number of House districts across America. We certainly were successful in some governor's races across America. We won the race in Nevada, for instance, and we're really proud of that. But we've got more work to do, and what the 2022 elections said more than anything else is we still have a very divided country, and it's very closely divided. And in many instances, unlike what we've seen in the past, a lot of undecided voters and a lot of voters in the middle ended up voting for the incumbents. That was true in Senate races where the Republican was the candidate, like Wisconsin, while at the same time they voted for the incumbent Democrat governor. And to a certain extent, it was voters in the middle voted for the devil that they knew rather than the devil that they didn't know. And that's just, at the end of the day, what we saw in 2022 and moving into 2023. We've got statewide elections coming up in Mississippi, and we look forward.
Ask you about that.
We really look forward to going out and telling our message about the good things that we've done in our state, how much better we are as a state today than we were just 3 years ago, and quite frankly have seen positive movement for a number of years now.
Right. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. So coming into next year, what will your message be for a second term?
Well, just as I said earlier, we've seen over $6 billion in new capital investments in our state, thousands and thousands and thousands of new jobs created in literally every region of the state. Earlier this week, I was at an announcement in a project down in Pascagoula, Mississippi on the Gulf Coast, whereas last week I was all the way up in Corinth, in Alcorn County, on the groundbreaking of that new forest products business. And what I would say is we are focused on job creation. We are focused on bringing better and higher paying jobs to our state. And we're also focused on investing in our people, because at the end of the day, we can't convince people to invest here unless we have a workforce that can produce the products and can do the jobs of tomorrow.
Right. Workforce training, I know that's been huge, and we see the results of that up in Northeast Mississippi. That makes a big difference.
Look, Northeast Mississippi has a large number of jobs training programs. I have personally visited, of course, the community university there at East Mississippi Community College. I was just on the campus of Northeast Mississippi Community College, and they're headed in a similar direction. Itawamba Community College has long since been a leader in workforce development up in the northeast part of our state. And so we really have a great partnership now with Accelerate Mississippi and our community colleges, and we really have more and more people understanding the importance of the jobs that are out there. And that's the reason this year we worked to get more career coaches in our local high schools. It's another area where Northeast Mississippi leads the way.
Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about Christmas. We're here, Christmas at the Mansion, all the beautiful decorations. What do you like most about Christmas?
Well, Ely and her team do a fantastic job every single year. It looks great here in the governor's mansion. And what I would say is I've really enjoyed the different themes each year that they've come up with. 2 years ago, the theme was honoring our frontline heroes during COVID, our nurses and our doctors and our EMTs and others in the healthcare space. Last year, we honored our kids because our kids had gone through some challenging times throughout Mississippi, having missed a couple of months of school. And then this year, the theme is Hometown Mississippi. And so if you look at some of the trees out here that have work from artists from all over Mississippi. It's just totally, it's so cool to me to see the different towns and the different counties and the different communities send in these ornaments, and it's just really fun to look at.
And some of them are so intricate. I mean, there's some really artistic people here in Mississippi.
Well,
of course, we knew that.
Well, we knew that. We have had artists
Right.
all over the globe for many, many years, but it's the reason we wanted to really get the artists in local communities tying in with their elected leaders in the mayor's office and the board of aldermen and the city councils and the board of supervisors, and they just have done a phenomenal job. And for me, as someone who loves this state dearly, it's really fun to see all of the work that's gone into it, because people are proud
Right.
of their communities, and that makes me excited.
How much, if any, input did you have in decorating?
I let the experts do that, right? I let the experts do that, and
Right. That's good.
Ely and her team had a lot to do with it. But one of the things that they've done is they've worked with a different individual each of the 3 years. The first year it was someone from West Point, Mississippi. Last year it was someone from Starkville. This year it was actually someone from Central Mississippi over in Rankin County.
Right.
And look, but they all bring 30 or 40 people in over a 4 or 5 day period. I forget how many trees are here. I think there's 18 or 19 trees. They may
It's
have
a
told
bunch.
you. It's a bunch of trees that are decorated, and it's beautiful. And to me, the Mississippi Governor's Mansion ought to be one of the most beautiful places on earth. And I think during this Christmas season, it certainly is.
Fantastic. Anything else you want to add to that, Governor?
Look, I just appreciate the opportunity to be on with you, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Very good. Awesome. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much, Governor. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Alan.
All right. And we're going to have more Sunrise Saturday straight ahead. Don't go anywhere.